Movies licensed games usually get a bad rap. This has been happening since the beginning of time for video games. I mean, the NES was littered with stuff like this, and it even kind of goes up to today. There's a better quality control in games now, but overall, movie licensed games just usually don't do well. However, with the 360, PS3, and the Wii era, there were a few exceptions, and Disney Pixar's Brave is honestly one of those exceptions. I'll be honest with you, never even seen this game before. I was in a game store a couple years ago and I saw it for $5 and I was like, well, I want to build my PS3 collection up. So I bought the game and I was like, it might be fun. And I checked it out and honestly, I thought it was kind of a fun little game. Well, is this game at all worth your time to even check out or play? Sit back, relax. I'm here today to talk about Brave for the PlayStation 3. Brave for the PS3 was released in 2012. It was developed by Behavior Interactive, which they were also known as Artificial Mind and Movement through the 2000s. Then they got their name changed back. They've made several movie games over the years. They made some games even really starting to the PS1 era, like Jersey Devil and Bugs Bunny Lost in Time, even to modern consoles today like Dead by Daylight. To start everything off, the plot of this game is pretty much the same as the movie. Now, I'm not going to lie, I've only seen the movie probably one time since it came out, and it was a long time ago, so I don't really know the plot too well from the movie. But in the game, you play as this girl named Merida, and basically your mom and even your brothers get transformed into grizzly bears. And there's this evil bear named Mordu who's like got these waystones in your kingdom that are corrupting everything, like the nature and stuff like that. All these monsters are coming out. You confront this witch and she tells you about what's going on, of what you need to do, and you pretty much just go on an adventure to stop Mordu and get your mom, Eleanor, to be a human again, and as well as your brothers. As you can see from the footage here, Brave is an action-adventure game. Now, on the surface, you'd probably be seeing this and just kind of think it's just like every other action game, kind of like, God of War or Dante's Inferno or something like that. But this game really does have some things going for it. The controls are pretty straightforward for this game. X is your jump button, which you can do a double jump and you can wall jump. Square is to swing your sword. Circle is to activate your power attack with your sword. That's an upgrade only you can get. Triangle is to interact with chests, to open to get swords, bows, or tapestries. The left stick is to move. The right stick is to shoot your bow and arrow in any direction you want. The D-pad will switch between charms, as well as L2 and R2. They'll do the same thing. L1 is to do a roll, which you have to get that as an upgrade. And lastly, R1 is also to shoot with your bow and arrow, but you can also charge your shots, which is also an upgrade available. So as you see, some of the buttons actually don't even do anything when you start the game. You have to get the upgrades at waystones throughout the game, and that's where you buy some of those moves like the roll and the power attack. The center point of the whole game is the Ring of Stones, which is basically just your little hub world where you access levels. There's not much to do because there's only 8 levels in the whole game, which, don't be fooled, they are kind of lengthy levels, but the game entirely is pretty short. You start with the first level, and of course, you pretty much just get to the end of the whole level and beat it all, and, once you beat it, then you unlock the next level, and so on. The biggest thing that distinguishes this game, though, from a lot of other action-adventure games is the charm system. At the bottom left corner, as you can see, you've got Earth, Fire, Wind, and Ice. And you'll get them pretty much in the first, 30% of the game. So once you get them all, they're actually pretty fun to use against enemies. As you see on screen, each enemy has a little element above their head. That is their weakness. So basically, you'll just have to pull out the charm appropriate to that element they have and just go ahead and beat them, and it'll kill them faster than it would with another element. There's a purple orb too right there on the display above your elements, and what that is whenever you fill that up, you can hit the circle button and you can unleash a ton of damage with your arrows as well as your sword. So it's a little bit of extra bonus damage for a little bit of time. You also need those charms too to get through these levels. There's going to be passageways and platforms that you can create by using them, like shooting an arrow or something like that. I thought that was a kind of nice little touch. I will say though, most of the time you'll actually see these pedestals throughout the levels a whole lot, and you'll have to step on them in a certain order, and it activates opening a door. And also sometimes you'll shoot your bow and arrow to hit these little targets, and it'll open gates for you as well. As far as things in the game where you collect, there's really not a whole lot here. All you really get in this game after defeating enemies is gold, which you use that gold to buy upgrades at the merchants, as well as healing potions, and those of course restore your health. You do sometimes find keystones in levels, and basically it's simple. You just go to find the keystone from some other part of the level, and then once you get it, then you can progress and advance in the level to get to the end. The biggest thing you'll find too throughout the game are the chests, and in these chests you have 3 different things. You'll either get a new sword, a new bow, or these tapestry things. Getting a new sword will increase your attack power every time you get a new sword, plus you'll have a different look on it, as well as the bow does the same thing. And the tapestries basically are a sort of a upgrade on your health and such, and if you get all the tapestries and complete the picture, then you get like an extra upgrade on your health. Another quick note to mention too, there's these little blue things that are surrounding you sometimes. Those are little will-o-wisp things, and how you accrue those, and what they do is whenever you kill enemies without taking any damage, you get those little will-o-wisps surrounding you. Every time you shoot or use your sword, you have a chance of dealing a critical hit with those will-o-wisps, so you can deal a little extra damage when you get those. Whenever you see those merchants after killing enemies, that is actually how you upgrade your abilities. Unlike other games, you can usually just go to a menu at any time and upgrade from there. Unfortunately, with this game, you cannot do that, so you do have to go find those merchants throughout levels if you want to get your abilities a little bit stronger. You don't actually always play as Merida throughout these levels. Sometimes you'll get to play as her brothers, which are the little 3 bears, as well as her mother, Queen Eleanor. When you're the 3 bears, it's like a little puzzle solving section. It's in about every level, and they're usually pretty easy to figure out. And then when you play as Mother Grizzly here, you pretty much just button mash and crush a bunch of enemies for like maybe a minute or so, and that's about it. Nothing really to it. The level design of this game is not too bad. I think that, with the charms, it kind of elevates the game's levels a little bit better. If they didn't have those, they'd be kind of boring. You just kind of jump around, move to the next area, fight wave after wave, so I think that they're okay. Not too bad. As far as the graphics are concerned, for 2012, I think it's a pretty ordinary game graphics-wise for Brave. I will say this, though. I don't know what's going on with Merida, but she looks kind of rough. I mean, geez, I don't know what's happening with her hair, but yeah, I just think it's fair, to be honest with you. The enemy variety in this game is fair. There's like wolves and like wood people and stuff like that, and they all have different elements, and even with each different element, they can do certain different things. So that's kind of cool, but for the most part, they're pretty ordinary, but that's not a bad thing. There's just not like a terrible ton of variety. And as far as the difficulty goes, I actually did play this on the hardest difficulty, Brave, because I thought hard was just way too easy, and I beat it. Now, there were some tough moments, though, with some of the bosses. There's not that many bosses in this game. There's only like maybe 3 or 4, but whenever you get to them, they get kind of challenging, but just keep it up, and you can get through it. If I can get through it, you can get through it. The music in this game is pretty good. Has a very good, Irish kind of feel. I really like that quite a bit. It's a kind of a watered down version of the original soundtrack from the actual film, but nonetheless, it's still decent. It's still fun to listen to. There actually is another game mode in this game other than single player. You can actually do archery mode, which basically uses the PlayStation Move. This is also on the Xbox 360 version, which that actually does the Kinect, which I've heard it's not very good. I don't know though, I'm just kind of going by what I've heard. But the PS Move, it's actually not too bad, but again, it's kind of standard. There's nothing really revolutionary here, but just thought I'd check it out, so, just to see, what's going on with this. Brave is pretty inexpensive for the system. You can get this game for roughly around like $12 or so on the PS3. If you do want to play this game, you don't have to have a PS3. You can have the Xbox 360, the Wii, the DS, as well as Windows. I can't vouch for the DS or Windows, but I do know that the Xbox 360 version, other than archery range mode, it's pretty much the same exact game, just Xbox. The Wii is the same game as well, I believe. It's just more watered down and condensed because of the, of course it's the Wii. So overall, I do think this is a pretty fun game. I enjoyed it myself. It kind of feels like, a little bit sometimes like a twin stick shooter, because you use the right stick to shoot with your arrow a lot and then you move with your left stick. It feels really natural and I like that. It's not perfect by any means, but if you want a good movie license game for PS3, 360, I would definitely recommend playing some Brave on those systems. And of course, if you do like this video, be sure to give a like, and if you got something to say, make sure to leave a comment down below. And of course, if you really enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take it easy.